Hi learners, this is another interesting lesson on life sciences, and we are going to deal with the section that deals with human endocrine system. This section is a revision because I know you already dealt with this, but what is really going on in this section or in this subtopic that is human endocrine system? Let's look at the following. We've got the concept map here that outlines exactly what we're going to deal with when we're dealing with endocrine system. We're going to look at the difference between the differences between endocrine system, and we're still going to put in exocrine system so that you can be able to differentiate between the two. And then what else are we going to look at? We're going to look at all the glands that are in the endocrine system and the types of hormones that they secrete and what is really a hormone. And then we'll continue with this section when we understand what is the difference between endocrine system, exocrine system, glands, their secretions, and what hormones are. Then the key words, every section that you're dealing with, you need to look at the key words, which are very important to know because you know our subject, life sciences, terminology is too many. And for you to understand the concepts and all the concepts and how life sciences is going on and how the processes are going on, you need to know your terminologies. So in this section, we're looking at endocrine system, exocrine system, and hormones. But what about these key words? Let's continue now. Have you ever thought about these? Once I mentioned endocrine and exocrine, what went into your mind? Let's see if you had exactly what we are going to talk about. We're looking at the differences. This is key, the differences between endocrine and exocrine glands. The issue is how do they differ? But for this year, you're only looking at the endocrine glands, but you need to know the differences between the endo and the exo. So let's get deep into it. This table now outlines exactly the difference between the endocrine gland that I talked to and the exocrine gland. But how do we differentiate the two? We say endocrine glands, they don't have the ducts, and exocrine glands, they do have the ducts. The question is, what is a duct? I think that is what is in your mind now. Ducts are nothing else, but you can compare them to the tubes. They are the delivering tubes of the hormones that are secreted by these glands. So if you look at the endocrine glands here, we say they are the types of glands without the tubes. But how do they secrete their secretions? They secrete their secretions directly into the bloodstream, which means blood is the one that delivers the secretions to the targets. Now, what about the endocrine glands? We say they do have the tubes that delivers what? The secretions. And where do these secretions go? They go to different, these are the examples of the glands that we're talking about that has got the ducts. But in the endocrine glands, these glands, they don't have the tubes. We said their secretions are delivered by the bloodstream. And what are the examples of these? We've got the thyroid glands, we've got the hypothalamus, we've got the pituitary gland, adrenal gland, pancreas, ovaries in females. Remember, only in females. And testes, only in males. This is key to know. And then these endocrine secretes hormones. But the exocrine, they do not secrete hormones. Like we gave an example of the sweat glands. What is secreted? What is secreted from the sweat gland? It's sweat. So sweat is not a hormone. Now, we covered the difference. Now, let's move to these type of glands that we refer to them as endocrine glands. Remember, no ducts here. So, we're looking at, this is the brain, remember? We take our glands from the top to the bottom so that you can remember in your sleep when you look, thinking of your brain downwards. So, we've got the hypothalamus here on top here. At the posterior here, we've got the pituitary gland. That the hypothalamus here secrete the ADH. And the pituitary gland here secrete, this is the pituitary gland that I was talking to, that is here at the bottom. It secretes the growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and prolactin. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hormones that are secreted. These 5 hormones are secreted by the pituitary gland. Now, I said you start from the top, we go down. Let's move. Now, we come into this gland that is H-shaped, that is referred to as the thyroid gland, that secretes thyroxine. Then, we're moving again to the next one. I said we've started from here, we went to here, now we're moving down. Down here we've got this gland on top of the kidneys. These glands on top of the kidneys that are referred to as adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland secrete adrenaline. And we've got this ductless gland again, that is the pancreas, that secrete the glucagon and the insulin. That we'll talk about here when we're talking about the sugar control. Then, remember, pancreas can function as an endocrine gland and as an exocrine gland. For now, we're looking at pancreas as an endocrine gland that secretes the glucagon and the insulin, the 2 hormones. And we move to the, now we go to the bottom now. We are now looking at the female glands here. These are the ovaries. The ovaries secrete 2 hormones. That is the estrogen and the progesterone. Then when we move to the males, we've got the testes here that are covered by the scrotum. The testes are the endocrine glands that secretes the testosterone. Now, we discuss all the types of hormones from the top to the bottom and the types of hormones that are secreted. Let's now go further to see more or study more on this. Now, if you look at this table, it's going to make your life easy to understand, remember the hormones and their targets and functions. So we start at the top again. We're looking at the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus secretes ADH. I said for you to write down this name or it's going to be a little bit difficult. You are allowed to use the acronym. It's called ADH or vasopressin if you want to use that word. But what is the target of this hormone? Is the kidney. And what is this function of this ADH on the kidney? It stimulates reabsorption of water into the tubules and then protects the body against dehydration. So for the kidney to reabsorb water, it obviously protects your body against dehydration. Then we continue with our glands. We've got now the pituitary gland still in the brain there that secrete the thyroid stimulating hormone. What is the target here? The target will be the thyroid gland. And what will be the function of this TSH? It stimulates growth of the thyroid gland and again stimulates thyroid gland to secrete the thyroxine. Remember when we started, we said the thyroid gland secrete thyroxine. Then, still on the pituitary gland, it secretes the follicle stimulating hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone now will target the ovaries in the females and the testes in males. So what would be the function of this follicle stimulating hormone? In the females, it stimulates the development of the follicle and stimulate ovaries to produce estrogen, and again stimulates development of the ova. I put this egg here. We're talking human beings. Human beings don't have a shell. So we're not using the word egg for human beings. We use the word ova or ovum. And in males, the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the testes to produce spermatozoa. Learners, we covered the endocrine glands, their secretions, their targets, and function. Now we are going to go for a break so that you can just have a glass of water and come back. See you after this break.